Welcome to everybody. Good evening. We're excited to be here talking just a little bit about our story and yes, developing manufacturing with Infiltronics Environmental. So I'm Kate, and then you'll hear Jenny later on. So again, who we are, and I am a faculty member at MU in civil engineering, and my area where I teach and do research is stormwater. And so just to take a minute to talk about a little bit about the technology, not too much, but so at least you have a little bit of a concept. And so what we're really trying to do is to kind of develop and commercialize this new stormwater management device. And so it's pretty simple materials that we're trying to engineer. It's kind of this geotextile fabric that you may see on construction sites, is black fabric. We use it in tubes, and then we use aggregate. So that's gravel and sand, different sizes. And so, you know, as Jean is mentioning, so we're trying to get water into these tubes, spread it out, and so then we can get it back in the ground where it belongs. It helps prevent some of the problems with erosion. But in going into this, neither of us had manufacturing experience at all. And the businesses that we've traditionally been in are different. So I'm in academia, and Jenny has had experience in the engineering consulting world. So we are novices in this area. So, you know, for us, you know, before thinking about the manufacturing, just want to say a little bit about the business, or starting the business. And, you know, and for us, we really learned about understanding our market. And that was, you know, who is our customer? Who would want our product? How would they get it? Why would they get it? What are their unmet needs? What are their problems, their pains? And so that's really important when you would say, you know, I'm going to be able to solve a problem, not just, I think this is cool and, you know, we're going for it. So the idea of really finding potential customers, talking with them, but not biasing it by saying, oh, I have this wonderful product. It's really saying, what are you doing? What are the good parts? What are your pain? What do you wish you had? And so that was very instructive for us as we've gone through and we continue to talk to customers. And so some of the resources that we've utilized is we participated in the National Science Foundation I-Corps program for kind of entrepreneurial kind of investigation and learning. And that uses this business model canvas, which has the different kind of components of a business. So we learned a lot with that. I won't go into the others, and you can Google and find this business model canvas. But I really want to say thank you, because we are part of the Mizzou, the venture mentoring service. And so we've really benefited from that as we're starting along. Again, thanks to Reddy for hosting this, and we're participants at the hub. And then we also have worked at the Missouri Innovation Center with Quentin Messbarger on that. So, you know, I said we have this stormwater, and we in fact do have a patent on it. And so you can see these pictures here look lovely, nice pictures, but that's not, once we got the patent, it was a theoretical patent and we had never manufactured it. So we really had to get this initial version, or what you would call the minimum viable product. So the minimum product, not all fancy and looking good, but something that would work, that we could test. And so in that right-hand picture, you can see what our minimum viable product and the installation, and you can see there's a tube there, a tub that, you know, a basin that we used and put our things together. So we were able to develop this, our device and get things moving. So what I want to do is I'm going to turn it over to Jenny, because she's really the individual who's been doing a lot of the manufacturing work on this.
Great, thank you. So when you're first starting this manufacturing process, some of the steps you should take initially are doing some research. So you should look into what other people are doing with similar products, what materials they're using, what properties these materials have, trying to understand what's going to go into your eventual manufactured piece, your product. And so for us, we did this research. We looked into different fabrics, what, woven versus not woven, what different properties they had. And then once we had done this research and had learned about the materials we wanted to use in our product, we started working on it and trying to make it ourselves. And I think, at least in the very beginning, it really is beneficial to try and find a way to make some version, some minimum viable product version of your product yourself. It's generally a lot cheaper than trying to have some company pump out 1,000 units for you. And it lets you better understand how you want your product to be and the potential pitfalls of its manufacture. And just with it, like with anything, you will get better at manufacturing it and making it over time as you do version after version. So I think there's a lot to be learned from kind of going at it by yourself, at least initially. So for us, we mentioned having the fabric and the aggregate. And so I personally did the manufacturing in the beginning. I cut the fabric for the tubes. You can see in that middle picture, I sewed the tubes together, and then on the right, I filled them. So fully immersed in this, figuring it out as you go, building it on your own and understanding your product. So this was working for a while, but at some point we decided we needed to make a change with our manufacturing process. And the two pieces that we realized we needed was we needed additional labor, and we realized that some of our processes weren't efficient enough for the stage we were in with the company. So we'd kind of grown to the point where me working in the garage or in the warehouse space just wasn't efficient enough, and we needed to make some changes. So as far as the labor was involved, the two factors that were the real impetus for changing our labor practices was that manufacturing was taking time away from other company work. So I was spending too much time actually cutting fabric and filling tubes and couldn't fully take care of other duties I had with the company. And that because the manufacturing was taking so long, we couldn't get our projects in as quickly as we wanted to. So we had some early test sites that were held up because I just had to make the units and I couldn't keep up, couldn't make it fast enough. And so what we did to solve this was we brought in some part-time help. And we brought this help in specifically to manufacture 4 projects we had. And this doesn't have to be full-time employees. It doesn't have to be anything special like that. Look at the people around you for help. Look at your friends and your family and people you know, and see if you can source help that way. And I will say, when you bring these folks in who are helping you out, be strategic about what tasks you have this new labor do. Either put them on some kind of menial task that is over and over again, very simple, but also very helpful to you, or really explain the detailed aspects of your manufacturing. Make sure they fully understand not only that it needs to be precise, but why it needs to be precise, because that leads to a better product in the end. And now over to the manufacturing processes side of this. So for us, again, that was cutting fabric off of a 15-foot, 200-pound roll of fabric, sewing the tubes by hand with a commercial sewing machine, and then filling these tubes by hand with gravel, sand, whatever. And again, we were having issues where it was taking my time away from company work. It was taking too long for us to get the sites together, but we also had some quality control issues. Some of this had to do with assigning a task that our assistants didn't fully understand why it needed to be so precise. But also part of it is that me just rolling out a big roll of fabric and trying to cut a straight line is not as precise as having a machine that can hold the fabric taut, cut 20 pieces at a time, and then sew them immediately. So that was another big aspect of the need for new manufacturing processes, was to have a higher quality of product. And so what we did is we found a commercial sewing company who could cut and sew the tubes for us, and we found a machine fabricator who could make a filling machine for us. So in the journey to find the commercial sewing machine company and the machine manufacturer, we utilized resources around us. Look to the internet. The internet's a great resource. We're all very lucky to have it. Lots of different keyword searches can help you find all kinds of different things. Look to your family and friends. They might know someone who is in a particular field. And then also look into this great entrepreneurial community here in Columbia. Ready, MIC, Missouri Innovation Center, all of these different entities and the people who work there and are associated with them can really point you in the right direction as far as finding the help you need for your company. And once you've narrowed down those companies, make sure you really talk with them in depth so that they understand what you need and you can figure out how much it's going to cost you. And part of that is sending in samples of the materials you're going to use and a finished product if you can, in addition to detailed drawings. And make sure you get a sample back to ensure that they're making the pieces how you want them to be, and that they're the quality you need and they're sturdy enough. And then something to keep in mind is also to check on the time frame for your product's production. So in our case, the tubes and then also the manufacturing machine itself, so that you can then make sure you're on target for meeting your customers' needs and things like that. Here you can see our filling machine. It's almost done, so we're very excited about that. And this seems like a lot more of an efficient process than just hand scooping gravel into tubes. And we're really looking forward to this because it will allow us to manufacture in our warehouse space, I say warehouse space, our lab space, a lot more efficiently, but it also gives us the capability to manufacture on site. So it's really increasing our efficiency and allowing us to do a lot more as a company. So going forward, I want to make this clear, we are still in process. Our manufacturing process will be changed over time, and it will continue to improve over time as we learn more and more about it, and as we are able to bring in other components that improve the process and the product overall. And kind of in summation, the changes that we have made to our manufacturing process over time have helped us understand our product and how our customers will use it. It's increased our efficiency of production and allowed us to spend time on other important aspects of the company as we've grown. So thank you all for your time. This is our website, infiltronicsenvironmental.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if there's any questions, we'd be happy to take them at this time. We got one from Amos.
Yeah.
How did you find a manufacturing partner? I think, I don't know if for partner you mean the different companies we're helping to utilize, like the sewing, the commercial sewing and the machine manufacturer. Those were the commercial sewing company was just internet searching. There's actually a surprising number in Missouri. And we, and so just kind of an order of elimination about speaking to different ones. I think you also found some leads from some folks who were in shoe repair who also did commercial sewing. So a little bit of that connection with family and friends, as well as just internet searching. And then once we found a few good options, sending a product in to see what they could do. As far as the machine, the manufacturing machine, that actually it started with an internet search as well, but then became a referral through some other steel manufacturers who didn't do that kind of work, but knew people who might, and so ended up that way.
I'm just curious, with your Tolton and your Rockbridge installations, have they been, are you still working with those, monitoring those? How have those been going?
Yeah, we, and actually, when you were talking about what's been going on lately with the pandemic, we have, things have been a little bit, slow in the business. And actually, this is not the manufacturing, but we've actually had the opportunity to kind of backfill, to, like you said, to open a door. And so some of our more internal efforts associated with like our financial system and our business plans. And so we were able to work at that, but actually we were able to actually extend the site at Tolton High School. And so we have two sites at Rockbridge State Park. We have an agreement with the Missouri State Parks through the Department of Natural Resources, which is great. And so folks can just go there and by the Deer Run Trailhead and see our installation. And so we're in that process of developing or going through data analysis and, to work for understanding the process of water and the subsurface and developing a design. So we have been able to continue and even to grow some of our installations, our test installations.
We have another question. Do you find yourself inclined to iterate and develop new products rather than focus on optimizing the current product and improving efficiency? So yeah, it's kind of you need to keep an eye on both, I think. So a big part of kind of what my mom, Kate, was talking about is the testing we're doing. And so that testing will allow us to improve our product and create a design tool that allows us to specify a unit for different sites down the road. So we are definitely focused on making sure that we're developing, well, new products or just a more finalized product, but also wanting to make sure that we can, also making sure that as far as like the manufacturing goes, that we are improving that as well, because we need to be able to do more sites when we have the opportunity to. So it's kind of a working on both.
Yeah, I mean, just before we have, there's another question, but when we talk about the business line, so for the, what we've been talking about so far is more physically getting water back into the ground. The recognizing that stormwater, it's on the surface, it carries a lot of materials and sediment and you know, can carry off pesticides and fertilizers. One other area for us is going to be in water quality. So as we work on getting the portion of the business that gets the water back into the ground through infiltration, we are still thinking about new products, a product that would be more of a water quality device as well.
So we have another question. Who does the installation?
Installation?
So that's kind of,
I can expand on that too.
yeah.
But I guess just basically, are you guys doing this like around Columbia? It seems like are you at the stage of doing test runs kind of?
Yeah, so we have 3 sites in so far, and the extension was on an existing site. So those are all research sites. So we're collecting data on those sites and had agreements with the institutions where they're located to do those research sites. We are in the process of moving out of mid-Missouri with a site that's coming up. So that's exciting, but not quite finalized yet. But for the installation itself, we do a lot of the labor with some of the folks who help us do the manufacturing and other family members. And then we work with a soil scientist and with a septic installer. So they're very good at excavating very precisely for the actual installations as well. But
okay. So if you do I'm assuming your guys' plan is kind of to like distribute this, you know, across the country, maybe, is that right?
Yeah.
Would you have your company do the installation, or would you hire somebody out? Like, how might that end up working?
so,
Well, there's a couple ways. I mean, one is to have sort of licensed installers to know how it would work. But some of the companies where we've looked that are also in the stormwater business, they help with some of the design services, and then, you know, other people would be able to utilize that, purchase the tubes and the design process, and then, you know, have licensing for the filling machines. And
so yeah, it'll probably be contractors who are working on the actual projects who will be doing the installation, hopefully with someone associated with us kind of overseeing it and definitely involved in the design process. But we don't personally, I don't think either one of us is intending to become flying around the country and installing these ourselves.